Hi, how are you guys? Well, welcome to today's new live stream video. It is the New Earth Ascension Daily Energy Update, and today is about downfall of leaders. Um, if you don't know me, my name is Angela, and I am an intuitive energy healer and a New Earth volunteer myself, working on my ascension to the new earth as well. I just want to start by saying how these daily energy updates are going to go. Um, I We're going to talk about the 3D aspect of life right now, which is our outer world, and then we're going to talk about the 5D aspect, which is our inner world, and then we're going to talk about the ascension process and how we integrate what's in between there. So usually that can include anything like a meditation, a how I do my energy healing. It could include anything really, but and then we'll just go into some messages from spirit. So I'll either pull some cards, or I'll have a pre-channeled message, or I'll just talk about what I feel in the moment. Um, I want to talk about, so let's start with the 3D aspect. Okay, so in the outer world, yesterday was huge on the news about President Joe Biden and his trip to Hawaii. And so I want to look at this because, I mean, he got up and he did a speech where he told a story about how he almost lost his home and how he could relate to the people in Hawaii because of a fire that started in his kitchen and was put out within 20 minutes. And he almost lost his cat and he almost lost his Corvette. And everyone is in an uproar about this, right? Because it was so um, selfish, really. You know, he's talking about himself and it's not even relating to the people and their true situation. I get where he's trying to relate to them, but it was just a bad example, a bad choice to try to relate um, to what these people have gone through. I mean, you know, people were burned alive in this thing and the entire town was incinerated. So it doesn't compare apples to apples, right? And so Um, I do a lot of research, I watch a lot of news, I do a lot of reading, and spirit will bring me to things that kind of are synchronistic in what's going on in the world as to what's going on in ourselves, right? Because um, we need to, we all have our own free will and we can choose what we like and what we don't like, what we want to say yes to and what we want to say no to. But we are still all one in that whatever is going on in the outside world that's really upsetting us or where we feel like there's injustice or something like that going on, we always need to look inside of ourselves because that same quality, that same aspect is going on in ourselves. So, um, with Joe Biden, we have someone who was completely devoid of empathy and compassion and so far removed from what really happened, so far removed from regular people that this is what he's talking about. So I was reading a book yesterday, and it's Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. And something very interesting popped out at me. And it says that in his book Derailed, corporate psychologist Tim Irwin details the downfall of six high profile CEOs over the last decade. Every downfall was triggered by the executive's inability to connect with employees on a tangible, meaningful level. And when I read that, I instantly thought of Joe Biden. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, dude, he could not relate to those people. He was trying. I appreciate the trying. However, that like, you're the president, and you're going there to give some solace and care and comfort to these people, and it was just too far removed. Not a very good choice. But it was like he could not relate to these people on a meaningful level, and this is why people are in an uproar, because it was just so removed of any compassion and any empathy. Um, he related it to something that happened to him that was not relatable, that was not the same at all. And so it made people angry. And I agreed. It made me angry because it doesn't make sense, you know? And he blatantly lied about what happened as well. So that was another thing. Okay, so um, I just want to point out that God is raising up leaders that are compassionate and empathetic to the situation that someone is going through, right? So, like leaders that can actually help bring through people because they have experienced the situation, not because they're just like saying that they know what they went through or whatever. But um, I find it interesting that with everything going on with President Trump and him being um, experiencing all of this, to me, it's not American what is going on. To me, this is not how we work in politics. It can't be, because think about the next person that comes up. What's going to happen is they're going to have fear to have to say what they need or to challenge elections. And we're America, dude. We get to say, I don't agree with this and it be okay and not have these repercussions or indictments coming at you because you don't agree with an election or you don't agree with, the politician on the other side of the aisle. That's not American. And so to me, it is completely against our values. It is completely against our um, constitution, and it is completely corrupt and injustice, right? Because this man is still trying to run for president, and and the censorship that's going on is insane. Okay, but here's where we as New Earth volunteers, we as spiritual beings, we can kind of back away from this and look at it objectively. And what I'm seeing is that Trump is being put through this for the sheer fact that he will be able to have compassion and empathy for other people that have experienced si- censorship. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Government corruption, um, and all kinds of things. Now, I see a few other people who could take that role as well because of things that they have been through. Um, so that is where I'm seeing something very interesting here, where he can definitely come back into office and have compassion for the corruption and the censorship and the all the other things that are going on. All right. However, you know, there could be a good deal of revenge that comes with that as well. But he didn't do that with Hillary Clinton, so, I mean, we'll see, and that's why I think that there's other people who could kind of take over that spot, because if that does get into his psyche or whatever, then that may be his downfall because that may be his only, like path that he's like, that's it, that's all I'm going to do. However, I don't see that happening. I see him putting that to the side and putting America first and setting things right. However, I don't know. But this is what I'm saying synchronistically, as far as leaders who are not able to relate to people on a tangible level. So, what I want, what I do myself is now we're going to go to the 5D aspect of this. Okay. So, we need to look at ourselves. Where in our lives do we not have compassion or empathy? Where are we completely removed from others as far as selfishness, maybe pride, um, thinking that we're better than, whatever. This is really hard work to do. And so I had to look at myself last night and I definitely had a few things come up for me. Um, and one of them was spiritually. I know, like with my husband, because he is and not outwardly spiritual like I am, but there was a time quite a few years ago where I was very arrogant and prideful and had told him that, we couldn't be together because spiritually, he was on one level and I was on the other level. And it was, I remember even feeling like I couldn't relate to him anymore and he couldn't relate to me because of what I was going through spiritually. And I want to say that this really reminded me of this. And so how we have to clear this and how we have to integrate this energy is one, it's forgiveness, right? Because if we realize that someone else is doing this and it's we've done it in our lives in some way, shape, or form, then it's the same quality. And so we forgive the other person and then we forgive ourselves. So this is what Dolores Cannon talked about so much. And she said that the key is forgiveness, right? You want to get to the new earth, you need to be in forgiveness. And so it can be hard, but we also have to look at ourselves and be really honest, like, where have we done this? And I know for myself, I was extremely arrogant and thought I was better on some higher spiritual level, which was total malarkey. Um, but because I felt like that, I had basically pushed him out. And it actually led to my downfall very shortly after. I'm just, spirit's bringing this to my mind right now. That's so funny. Oh, because that's when I had a um, kind of like a psychological crisis right after that, and I literally needed him to help me because I was like, "Oh my god, like I was so wrong. Like I'm so sorry. Everything I thought was not what it was." Okay, so let's get back. So what I did is I just said, um, "I forgive Joe Biden for being arrogant, prideful, not compassionate, not empathetic, and I ask forgiveness for that same thing in myself." So, this work right here, if you're doing this with me and you really want to ascend to the fifth dimensional energies, and really what that is you want to rise to the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is to be the best that one can be in all areas of your life, right? Financially, spiritually, physically. And so that's where I know my ascension is taking me. So you have to look at yourself and just ask yourself. This is the question. Like I put my hand here and I just say, okay, where in my life have I been, um, could I not relate to others on a tangible, meaningful level? Where was I arrogant? Where was I prideful? Where did I think I was better than others? And there's no shame in this. Like, we really need to get to the core of these things because once we do, then it's like it's a domino effect. I heal myself in that area. I accept those qualities in myself and it just spreads like wildfire. So, I said to myself, I asked myself those questions. So if you're doing this work with me, ask yourself those questions, write it down. Spirit will bring it to your mind where you were exactly the same. I mean, my situation was years ago, but it's exactly the same. And so I forgive Joe Biden and I forgive myself for doing something very similar. But it is interesting how I fell very shortly after that, thinking that I was on some spiritual high level. Oh my gosh, I definitely was not. Um, but that's okay because I have learned and I've grown and I know that like we all have these qualities in us. So whatever we're looking at as either good or bad, this is part of the work is really integrating that and saying, no, we're just human and it's okay that we're like this, you know? Um, so that's part of the 5D. So whatever comes up for you, write it down, journal it, and then forgive, someone. Maybe, and it could also be that you think someone has been like this way in your life. Maybe it hasn't been you. And maybe you've been angry or hateful. Yes, I said hateful, um, because we get that way, angry or hateful at that person for being like that. Or maybe you thought that they're bad. Maybe you thought that they're bad or something like that. And so that's where you can say, okay, I forgive that person for being like that. And just in return, I ask for forgiveness for being angry or being hateful towards it. Right. Um, is it right? Is it 100% like right the way he behaved on that stage? No. Was it right the way I behaved? No. But it's okay to fall. It's okay to fail and learn from our mistakes. That's where we can bring in the compassion and the empathy, right? Because we understand where we were at, which it basically all comes down to fear, right? But so ask yourself that, forgive what needs to be forgiven on the outside, and forgive yourself for whatever you have done on the inside. Also, I want to say if there's any emotions that come up, just let them come up. I had some emotions come up about how I was really angry, that I felt abandoned in that situation, especially after. And I was really angry at my husband for um, kind of letting me learn my lesson. Oh, doesn't that sound funny? But I was really angry about that. And so I had to deal with those emotions. I let them come up. I let myself be really angry and then I let it go. All right. So as far as the ascension part of it, um, that's what the ascension part is like, okay, you've acknowledged, you've asked, you've forgiven the outside 3D, you're asking for forgiveness in the 5D inner world. And the ascension part is just like that. The old emotions can come up, and you just feel them and let them go. Acknowledge them for sure. Don't suppress anything. Um, and then just know that with that release, there will be new, fresh, lighter energy that comes in. All right. And so let's see if there's anything else I have as far as spirit goes. Um, well, let's just ask spirit for any messages that need to be brought up or talked about for the day. Let's see. Oh. And that's a great thing about like being so vulnerable and open with each other is that we realize that we all have these hurts inside of us, and the fear and the wounds and the hurt is what causes these negative behaviors, such as arrogance, such as temper tantrums, such as hate, such as um, everyone thinks that these narcissistic tendencies are, you know, awful and bad. And I don't think that at all. I think that we all have them in us from pain and maybe not being heard or not being accepted. And then we get really defensive. And now I'm not saying that everyone has that disorder, but I'm saying it's okay that we have these same kind of qualities, right? And acknowledging them, and so that you can release this stuff. And it's better for the earth. Okay. So, Spirit, we just ask for whoever's watching what they may need to know for the day, what energies, how can we assist them on their ascension journey. Thank you so much. Okay. Seven of Wands. It's really funny because I was feeling like this like fear of defensiveness or not wanting to acknowledge some of these things that may be coming towards you. So I just say, like, listen, it's okay to have negative emotions. And when these things come up, don't be this. I mean, I just really feel like it's like this person in this bubble who's like, I'm perfect. I can't have anything touch me. I can't have anything harm me. And spirit's like, no, that's not life, right? That's not how life is. There's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering. There's going to be struggle. That is part of this journey. There's going to be people that you don't like. There's going to be people who say mean things, who say offensive things, but we can't live in this like bubble, like um, my perfect spiritual bubble. No, it's time to really get out there and show who you are. If you feel like you have been doing this inner work and you like feel this calling to step up as a light worker, an empath, a star seed, even for myself, like intuitive energy healing and energy updates, things like that, just do it. It's scary, but just do it and just see what happens. So, this is what I'm feeling for the message for today. Allow what you need to bring into your world. Allow the good and the bad, and accept it as just this journey. And it's okay. We all have faults. We all have emotions, and it's okay to feel these things, but we have to release what we have suppressed, the conditioning, the trauma, everything like that, so that we can be lighter in our body, minds, and spirits. So I wish you the best day, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.